First with my old and dear friend Vivek Bhargava, who's the founder of Profit Wheel, which is the sponsor of this series. Prior to Profit Wheel, and to that matter, to this point, Vivek is also the head of the performance group of Dentsu International in India. All the digital part of that comes under Vivek. And he founded a company called iProspect. Well, it was called Communicated 2 when he founded it. It became iProspect later. And he led that for many, many years and is kind of recognized as Mr. Digital Marketing in India. He's also an angel investor. And amongst other things, plays professional level table tennis, I think, from what I can make out, and cycles, and is writing a book on happiness. So that's Vivek.
So before we start, I'm just going to give you a quick story how Profit Wheel came about. So I had invested in this company which Netcore acquired about a year ago. And I was one of the lucky few in the investors who was allowed to join Netcore on the cap table. And me and Rajesh got talking during the lockdown. So we would talk quite often, almost like weekly basis for an hour. And we were discussing, what are the biggest problems in the world to be solved? Although we ignored hunger and poverty, but we said, okay, if we can connect the AdTech world with the MarTech world, that would be one of the biggest problems to solve. So that's how it came about. And it seemed very obvious. So people wonder why hasn't it been done, right? So there are a lot of challenges because of which it is not easy to do it. There are 30, 40 technologies on either side, which companies like Google, Salesforce, Adobe have acquired, and connecting them is not easy. But we said, okay, if we can do this connection, I think it'll be a very exciting opportunity. So we started off with a partnership with Dentsu and Netcore and said, okay, if we take a person and the advertising data that we have over that person is taken all the way till the time he purchases the product and then advocates the product, that would be a very, very powerful bridge that will actually create tremendous amount of efficiencies at both the advertising side as well as on the marketing side. So let me give you an example just to elaborate this more. Suppose there is a person who's browsing the web. He sees an ad of a pizza, ignores it, sees an ad of a burger, ignores it. Then he comes across this ad of a salad. And then he clicks on the salad, installs Swiggy. Now the challenge is a lot of this data is lost. So what happens is if the best offer of Swiggy at that point in time going on is 500 rupees off on a pizza, then what happens is that that's the offer that user gets. And the chances of him then ordering his first order becomes slim because that information was not passed on to the MarTech world. And if I go back 15, 20 years, I still remember I used to work for a bank and we used to actually capture the keywords people were searching for. So there was a keyword called Novo chairs, and that Novo chairs keywords were dental chairs that costed 15 lakh rupees. And the loan amount used to be 50 lakhs instead of 50,000 rupees. The regional sales manager would attend to that call because that call made all the difference. Now, the thing is, you fast forward 15 years, that information is still not being passed on from the advertising world into the MarTech world and vice versa. So I think that's one problem that I think Profit Wheel is attempting to solve. We have solved versions of it, which is already giving a lot of efficiencies. But when we solve it completely, I think there'll be a lot of opportunities there. The second sort of extension of that thing is that you can't do this for hundreds of millions of people. You will do it for lesser number of people who give you most of the profits. So what Rajesh talked about, that it can be focused on that 2%, 20% of the customers, and then sort of even create more information on them. With the cookies going away, data partnerships are going to be important, but most data partnerships are with hundreds of millions of users. What if we could do data partnership with lesser number of users, maybe a few thousand Centurion card users or few thousand people who buy art in India? Those partnerships can actually deliver tremendous amount of profits for a lot of categories like luxury, travel abroad, education abroad, etc. So I think it's a combination of connecting both the worlds and then going after niche users, which I think will deliver tremendous amount of value to people. So our technology works very simple. I'm a firm believer of a lean startup where you start off with one problem and just solve it with a minimum MVP. So what our MVP does is it takes your existing data, whether it's in hash format or Facebook custom audiences, and then creates this awesome insights of what the psychographics of a user looks like. And then based on that, we can actually activate media on it, but also expand it to other mediums. and furthermore expand it to other markets. There have been some awesome insights of how outdoor enthusiast in US becomes a cooking enthusiast in India. So when you want to expand into Middle East or Southeast Asia, the insights that you have about the consumers, your best customers in India, can actually help you expand in those markets very, very effortlessly. So the way we do it is very simple. We get your first party data in a hash format. Mithane would say it's SHA-256, so it's very, very safe and secure. Or we actually you can just connect to the custom audiences on Facebook. Divide them into three cohorts, right? Your high value customers, your best customers, and the medium value customers and low value customers. Find out what attributes the high value customers have, and then basically filter them out and target them through media. And what we've seen is that when you are able to do this, you are able to reduce your CAC, but also the lifetime value of that customer improves substantially because you're now targeting very, very niche audiences who are your best customers. So we basically made a product portfolio of few products in the early phases. One is just to know your customers. You put the data in, we'll show you a graph which basically gives you psychographics of those guys. And it's just awesome to look at it first time that what kind of insights we can get about the psychographics of a person just by matching, let's say, Facebook custom audiences. Then we have something which activates media on Amazon and all the Facebook properties right now. But the other two interesting products we built for one of our partners was Market Expander, because this company actually takes domestic brands and takes them global. So our partnership with them allows us to launch in multiple countries simultaneously and also expand them to platforms like Snap and Twitter and other things. Let me show you one example. So basically we took high value customers and we took low value customers who were one of our clients. And what we did was we found that there are psychographics of each of these people where some of them are common, right? So a person who's buying a car is going to be an auto enthusiast. So both high value as well as low value could be an auto enthusiast. But when we drilled further, we found, so this graph are two charts. One is from left to right is the affinity of the person, and from top to bottom is the size of the audience. So although the thrill seeker audience is very small, they seem to have a lot of affinity for the high value customers of the client. So just imagine this thrill seekers, Facebook has almost 1.5 million odd interest. So this thrill seekers would divide into hundreds of interest. What if you could find a way to target them? 15 years ago when I set up a performance agency, we had a very simple thing. What is the difference between digital marketing and conventional marketing? Digital marketing is about maximizing efficiencies, while conventional marketing is about minimizing waste. So if you have 100 rupee budget and the thrill seeker audience is only 3 rupees, that's the total audience. Your best 3 rupee ROI will be spending the first 3 rupees on the thrill seekers, then the next audience, then the next audience, till the time your 100 rupee gets over. If you use this philosophy in media activation, the ROI that you receive is significant. And I think that's what we are trying to prove with a lot of people. Again, what we wanted was an MVP that can start within a couple of hours. So if we get a link up to the Facebook or it has data, straight away our technology will create the cohorts. We can create a split test. Facebook has this awesome test where you can actually take the same audience and divide them in two, and one audience will not see the other person's ads. And within a couple of hours, this test actually can go live. It's a free test, obviously. I think the power of technology is it has to be seen and experienced. So in 15 days time, you'll see that one single change in the algorithm. So AI is made up of data, algorithm, and machine learning. Just one single algorithm. This is just the first of the algorithms that taking your best customers, what kind of outlier it can create for partners. So in a way, that's a nutshell what we do. But I think one of the biggest challenges is that how do you increase profits of clients? I think over the last 20 years of digital marketing that I've done, my focus has always been that how do we increase the profitability of clients? And if that's the service we can provide, profit as a service, I think we can make the difference and move the needle for a lot of partners. Yeah. So I think that's a quick 6.5 minute presentation from me. Over to you, Ajay. you.